Due to recent events and the COVID-19 outbreak, literally everything has been canceled, including the NCAA's cash cow in March Madness. No sporting events whatsoever. Frankly, it really has become March Sadness. And to add on to this sadness, this year's Phantom Final Four logo will never be used. And it was a great logo that obviously took huge inspiration from the stadium that it was going to be played in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And the Final Four logo is like this every year. New, refreshing, identifiable, unique, and fun. So how come this only happens in college basketball and not college football? To be fair, it did used to be like this in college football too. From 2006 to 2013, there was a brand new, event-specific championship game logo under the BCS era. But once the college football playoff took over as the system crowning a national champion, this logo practice stopped. And I think part of the reason was simply to help those casual fans that might prefer the NFL to understand that college football was now under a playoff format, and that this playoff format was decided by a committee of people rather than computers like it was for the BCS. And it was a huge selling point for the playoff early in its tenure because so many people were crying out against that computer system. And so for the playoff committee, that was all a part of their marketing. But now we're 7 years into the playoff era, and we know that it's a playoff decided by a committee of human opinion. And so I ask, well, also for the sake of marketing, can we please have an event-specific logo every year to celebrate wherever the national championship game is being played this season? I mean, seriously, March Madness can't hog all the good logo designers every year. So let's explore what some of these logos could be. First, we need to understand what doesn't work about the current playoff branding. The playoff wants a consistent brand so that way you and me as a fan can recognize it instantly. So you want one reoccurring theme throughout each annual iteration of the logo. I think the current playoff year logo works great for this. It's unique, recognizable with the playoff logo representing the 0, and basic and versatile enough to be used with a different color scheme each year. The reason it doesn't work with the current brand structure is because simply they don't use it enough. It only shows up on the patch of the player's sleeves on their uniform and maybe at the 25 or 30 yard line. The midfield logo is that same old, empty, boring playoff primary logo. But you also don't want to use that year logo as the main only one that you use, because by itself, it's not unique enough to be able to tell the story of the intricate details of the city, stadium, and culture. So I took just a short amount of time to turn existing logos to see what they could look like if they were for a playoff national championship. Remember that Phantom Final Four logo that I mentioned earlier? Well, lucky for us, there was a national championship game there played just a few years ago. And boom! We could have had a logo like this for that game. And yes, I didn't take the basketball elements off the logo, but it's enough to get the idea. But what about the next championship game? There is still technically a possibility of getting a logo for the game this season. And what might that look like? Glad you asked. This year's game is going to be played in Miami, Florida. And again, lucky for us, there have been national championship games played here before. So let's just start there for some inspiration. Miami hosted the BCS championship game in 2008 and 2012 with these two logos. Little work here, little work there, and boom! Reimagined combination of these logos for the 2020 season. But remember, this is just for some inspiration. So let's take it a step further, shall we? Enter the Women's Final Four. The Women's Final Four has some really good logos. And while they haven't been played in Miami, they have played several times in Tampa, Florida, which for our purposes is close enough. The most recent of which was in 2019. So again, we take that logo with a little Photoshop and boom, boom, boom! Look at this logo. It is definitely my favorite by far. which is probably because it's from the source that we collectively are, well, least familiar with, but still, I think it turned out really, really well. And of course, these logos aren't actually usable because we just altered them from existing logos. But hey, it's just for fun to see what some of these logos could look like for the playoff. It really is a big part of the game that I miss, because in the BCS era, we did have a new logo every year. And I, for one, think that's something that the playoff committee should bring back too. If you agree with that sentiment, let the college football playoff know, because it's only we, the fans, that can change that. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Which logo was your favorite? And do you want to see some other logo concepts? Because they definitely exist out there to look at and discuss. And if you want me to, I can certainly make my own logo from scratch for this year's championship game, or even a past year. So let me know. Thank you so much for watching this whole video, and seriously, be responsible during this time. Follow the CDC and World Health Organization's guides and recommendations concerning the coronavirus. Wash your hands, please wash your hands. Stay home, stay safe, and stay healthy. That's all for College Football Media. Be goody now.